Welcome to Vibin with Ashley Live. I'm your host, Ashley Live. Tonight we have an incredible show for you. We have the legendary Lauren Frihauf. She's from season 19 of NBC's hit show, The Voice, singer, songwriter, pianist. She is in the room right now, and I'm going to bring her in because she is right on time. Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. This is episode 68 of Vibin with Ashley Live, and I appreciate your support with all my musicians, supporting me, supporting my musicians. It's been an incredible ride, and I'm so excited to bring Lauren in the room. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
How's your day going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. So I was actually right in the middle of introducing you, and then you popped in. I was like, I'm just going to bring you in.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right on time. So thank you for that. So I was telling everybody in the room, singer, songwriter, pianist, season 19 of NBC's The Voice. You were on Team Gwen, Team Legend. You were fortunate to be on 2 teams.
Yes.
Pretty awesome. You were in School of Rock. Gwen Stefani told you during your blind audition, you're like my dream person to work with on the show.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What
Crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, what did you think?
Oh, I couldn't believe it. What was funny is before the audition, everybody would ask me, "Oh, who do you want as your coach?" And I'm like, "Well, anybody would be great, but I would love to be on Gwen or John's team, and then if one of them turn around, that'd be amazing." But they both happened to turn around, so I had to make a really tough decision.
I mean, it's such a tough decision, but I love when people say that, when they put the camera on you and you're like, "Oh, but I've always wanted to be with Blake, or I've always wanted to be with Kelly," or because when you say it, it happens. It's like that manifestation.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it was really crazy. I was like, no way. This is amazing.
Yeah. And then you ended up working with both of them. Not only did both of them turn their chairs.
Yes.
With one, you work with both.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was really cool. Both of them are just such amazing humans, and I learned a lot from both.
Very cool. So I actually start each show off with a song lyric. So tonight is going to be a song called Give You Blue by Alan Stone.
Oh, yes.
This is a song that you covered. I love Alan Stone. I loved your rendition of it. And
thank you.
Yeah, I'm just going to share some of the song lyrics. I'll be by your side when the storms arise. I will shelter you when your sky is gray. I will give you blue. What an incredible song. What does this song mean to you, Lauren?
Ooh, man, I think it's just telling somebody, kind of assuring them that you're going to be there even through their dark times. And so I think it's a really special song, and the way that he delivers it is just incredible. And so it makes me feel like, oh my gosh, Alan's going to be there for me.
Oh yes, Alan will be there. If you guys haven't heard this song, you need to listen to this song after this interview, because you listen to it and you're like, he's speaking to me. Me and only me.
Yes.
So it's April. It's International Guitar Month. As a singer, who is a guitarist that inspires you?
Ooh. If we're talking famous person or artist wise, I would say Napalm. She's really incredible. Front singer of Hiatus Coyote, my favorite band, and so I think she's really dope.
And then I guess amongst your friends, or somebody that's maybe not.
There's a couple. I would have to say my friend Ben Suyat, who I've written with. I've known him for about 4 years now. He's one of the most incredible musicians I've ever met. Very inspiring to me.
Mm-hmm. And you met him at School of Rock, right?
Yeah.
Love that. So bring us back to your childhood when this all got started. Who inspired you to get into music, and how old were you?
I think my brothers are who inspired me. I would always go to their recitals when I was little. like 5 and 6 years old, and I'm like, hey, I want to do that. And so
Yeah.
that's what eventually got me into piano lessons and then later singing lessons. So
What was it about piano that made you want to start playing?
it was a really pretty instrument, and we have a piano in our house. So before I started taking lessons, I was just like, you know, playing random notes on it all the time. And so my mom was like, how about we get you lessons so you can actually learn to play it.
And then your singing started a couple years after, right?
Yeah, I'd always wanted to, but the performing arts school in Fort Morgan didn't allow students to start singing until about 5th grade. So I started like actually taking like vocal lessons when I was 11.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's so weird when schools, they want you to learn math and English, but they don't teach you music. Isn't that weird?
It is weird, yeah.
Yeah. Like, my mom said to me, she's like, I wanted to get you into foreign language when you were like in kindergarten. She's like, and they wouldn't let us do it. She's like, and it's weird because you think about like 5 or 6 years old, right? If someone wanted to play an instrument, like think if in kindergarten, instead of like ABCs, it was like ABCs, but then like you can actually do instruments and play and sing. Like that'd be so awesome.
Yeah, I agree. It's never too early to start learning that stuff. That's what I believe.
How would you describe the music that you create?
It's kind of a mix, you know. It has sort of an old school vibe in the recordings and stuff with the production, but I would say a lot of it's kind of indie neo soul type stuff, you know. I get a lot of influence from classic rock as well as like new like soul artists like Emily King. So it's kind of a mix, but it's all in one muddy thing.
But I think it all kind of encompasses one another, right? Because you said classic rock, but then you said like neo soul, and then when you listen to like Alan Stone, right, you hear all these other different elements.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's your creative process like?
Ooh, it's always different. You know, I'll go through phases where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm creating so much. I got like, you know, 3 songs in a week. I have so many ideas going through my head. And then a month later, I'll be like, I have nothing. And I don't know how to finish these songs. I have a verse and a chorus, but I can't finish the rest. And then it'll take me, you know, with some songs, they'll be like, one day, I got it done. It's over. But then other songs, it's like taken me a year. Like I have one that I'm only now just finishing that I started like when COVID hit. So, yeah, all songs are different. You know, sometimes you just have to come back to something later and, you know, hear it and play it with kind of a fresh perspective.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot with the musicians I talk to. Some are like, so I'll have this idea in January and then I'll come back to it in April. And I'm like, I'm kind of like looking at it for the first time. And you're right. Like you look at it one way a couple months ago. And then if you looked at it today, you're like, oh, now I'm looking at it from this perspective.
Right. I mean, I have a ton of voice memos in my phone that I'm like,
yeah,
I'll go through. Sometimes it's really fun and I'm like, oh, that's actually not a bad idea. I should go back to that one. That was cool.
Yeah. Now, do you think you're more like voice memos or are you writing things down or like a little of both?
I'm a little of both. I write lyrics. I try to write, so my goal is to write like just lyrics every day because at some point I'll find some that I will actually use later. And so that's actually really helped me. I started doing that this year. And, you know, sometimes I'll start with lyrics, sometimes I'll start with chords, but I have a lot of both.
I love that. I think you need to have different ways to use your creative juices.
Yes, absolutely.
And then when you write every day, if you do something every day, you just tend to get better and better and better at it.
It becomes a habit too. So,
yeah. Do you write songs or do you journal like the day or what you're feeling?
I just write, like, as far as writing lyrics, I just write lyrics or like a lot of times what's funny is most of it just comes to me when I'm in the shower or something, you know, and then I'll start humming it and I'm like, okay, at first I gotta like record this little hummy thing and then I'll write down the lyrics that I think will fit it. So that's kind of how a lot of it starts.
I love that. And it's so random that it comes to you in the shower because it's like, oh, you're not even thinking. You're like, oh my gosh, whoa, wait.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of my alone time. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. So I want to talk to you about School of Rock.
Yeah.
So talk to us about how you got involved with School of Rock. And for those of people who are watching that don't know School of Rock, I guess school them on it.
Yeah. So wait, what was your question? Sorry, I didn't completely hear that
Let's
actually.
talk about your journey with School of Rock
Okay, cool.
and
So,
schooling people that aren't familiar with how School of Rock works.
cool. Okay. So, my mom found it when I was 13, and so we enrolled summer of 2017.
Mhm.
Started there with a funk show, and then I ended up joining the house band. I met a lot of friends, people that I'm actually in a band with now, people that I play music with and collab with all the time. And I did 2 AllStars tours, which you have to audition for AllStars. It's students all across the country and the world. It's a lot of different people come together, and you get to play music and tour through the states. So that was really cool.
Awesome.
Really good experience.
So you toured extensively with School of Rock.
I wouldn't say extensively. I mean, like, it was once a year, 10 days, and I did it twice. It was really fun, and we got to play a lot of really neat venues, like Austin City Limits 310.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's...
Not the big stage, but still it was really cool because there was like really big artists next door. So
I think that's so cool. What other venues across the states did you play?
So what's funny is my first All-Stars tour actually started in Colorado. So we played the Red Rocks venue along with my house band. So I got to do 2 songs. And I'm trying to think of the others. My second tour we did Terragram Ballroom. It's I know King Crimson and bands like that have played there. It's a really nice venue. And then White Oak Hall is another one. That one's really cool. Just a lot of really cool stages. And then other ones were like dive bars, but really fun.
I love it though, because I mean, as a young musician, it gives you the opportunity to play with people from all over the US, all over the world. And that's just like, that's the best type of schooling.
Right. Yeah, and it was really cool. I couldn't have done it if I had been in a regular school. So I'm actually homeschooled, so that's what kind of made that possible.
So I guess with homeschooling and School of Rock, how does that work? Like, how extensive is the School of Rock program?
So the School of Rock program is just extracurricular. It's not like a school. It's strictly for like music lessons and stuff like that. But they have a lot of cool programs, for people who are really serious about it. And, I live about an hour and a half from the one that I was in. So I couldn't have been in like the schools that are nearby. They're actually like 30 minutes away. So it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, makes sense. How did School of Rock shape your musical journey?
I think it forced me to get into music that I never would have listened to, like, had I not been exposed to it, Like, I probably wouldn't have listened to prog rock had I not had to, sing prog rock. And so it got me into genres I never would have even known existed, neo soul. I had friends there that was their jam. And so that's what I got into, So I think it definitely gave me a lot of influence, which was really cool.
Awesome. You've covered songs by John Mayer, the Beatles, Amy Winehouse, countless other people. What about these musicians inspire you?
Ooh, I think it's their artistry and how unique they are. Like, Amy Winehouse is one of my, big music idols. I love her. I love her voice. There's nobody else like her. Yet, she's just so distinct, and her songwriting was really good too. Very unique.
Yeah, definitely. What musicians would you like to collaborate with?
Like famous ones, like my dream ones to collab with. Okay, probably like John. I would love to collab with John Mayer someday. He's pretty cool, and I would also love to collab with Emily King or like Her is really cool too. She's really amazing. I'm really into her music, so I think that'd be really cool.
Guitar, you're on keys, you're both singing. I can definitely like manifest that and just put it out in the universe.
Yes.
What is your favorite song to perform and why?
It's a hard one. There's actually two. I like, cover-wise, I really like singing Help Me by Joni Mitchell. That's a really pretty song. And then I also like doing Fleetwood Mac covers like Dreams and Rhiannon. So the crowd always loves those, and I love them too. So it's fun to perform.
Yeah, I think with Fleetwood Mac, you can't go wrong. Everyone loves Fleetwood Mac. It's like, oh yeah, my song.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned this earlier. You performed at Red Rocks, not once, but twice. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's literally on every musician's bucket list to perform at Red Rocks.
Yeah, it is.
Bring us back to that moment in time.
Well, so the first year was, so it was with my AllStars team as well as my house band. It actually got rained out. So I got to do my song, but it was pouring, like the stage flooded, and like so did the back rooms, and so we were like kept in like the green rooms, and even back there it was starting to flood. So it was really crazy, but it finally kind of stopped, and we were able to play the rest of our set.
Yeah, that's what sucks about those outdoor venues. It's like if it rains, like, do you do it? Do you stop? Like, what's the situation?
Yeah, it was crazy. And that one was fun, but definitely weren't as many people. The second time, though, there was like 1,000 to 2,000 people in the crowd. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. There was no rain. It was a really beautiful day. So,
and then the red lights on the rocks is just, you see it and you're like, whoa, what is life?
Yes. Yeah.
I've never performed there. I'm just saying from an audience standpoint, because I went there a couple of summers ago, and it was amazing to be there. It's definitely a bucket list item for musicians as well as fans alike.
It's really incredible. I'm hoping that someday I'll be able to play there, even when I'm, apart from the School of Rock. It's my dream venue to play again someday. So hopefully.
Time's a charm. You're definitely doing it.
Yeah.
So in October, you were on season 19 of NBC's hit show, The Voice, and you sang Come to My Window by Melissa Etheridge for your blind audition. What made you choose the song?
Why did I choose it? I had actually, so I went to Melissa Etheridge in November of 2019. She was actually the last person I saw in concert before COVID hit. Wow. And it was a very inspiring concert, and so I was obsessed with her. And I've been listening to her for a very long time. And so when they were like, I had the opportunity to sing that song, I'm like, this is perfect, it's inspiring. Yeah. And I think a lot of people like it, and I really like it. So that's why I ended up going with it. I
think it's one of those songs where it's like, it brings you back to a moment in time. Because it came out in the 90s. I'm not sure which year, but it's one of those songs, and you're like, oh, it's brings me back to that moment in time, and I love it, and it's so nostalgic, and the songwriting is so beautiful, and I love that you sang it, because sometimes on these singing shows, people will sing something that's like a top 40 hit that came out 2 months ago.
Right.
It's like, I can only hear a Harry Styles song so many times, and I'm like, but when people go back and they play something from like the 90s or the 80s, I'm like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's refreshing for sure. So it was an honor to sing her song, really. I mean, she's just an amazing human and an amazing artist, so yeah.
And she saw your performance.
Yeah, she did. I actually got to do an interview with her afterwards, which was really cool. She's so sweet.
Because you went to see her, and she inspired you. You sang the song, the interview, like, amazing.
Yeah. It was probably, like, definitely one of the best things I got out of just the Voice experience as a whole, really special.
Yeah, very cool. So when you did your blind audition, both John Legend and Gwen Stefani turned their chairs for you. What made you want to go with Team Gwen?
what's funny is when I was done with the performance, I saw that they had both turned around. I was like, well, this is really cool. I have no idea who I'm going to choose. This is crazy. I ended up going with her just because, you know, she's somebody I grew up listening to her music. I love No Doubt.
Yeah.
Who doesn't, honestly? It's amazing music, some great albums. And she's just a really strong woman in, you know, the music industry, which is really inspiring to somebody like me. So I was like, I would love to work with her, you know?
Girl power.
Yes, absolutely.
And I feel like Gwen Stefani has been famous her entire life. Like, when you see photos of her and you see videos back in like the early 90s, I'm like, wait, but she looks exactly the same.
I know, yeah. And she's so iconic too, you know, all of her outfits and everything. She's just such a star.
Yeah, that was another thing on the show. I was like, what is she going to wear next? Like, what is she going?
Exactly.
And I think her fashion sense and her music has really stood the test of time, because it's not like she just did one style of music. Like, you had the punk, you had the ska, you had the top 40. She worked with Pharrell a little bit. Like, she was everywhere when it came to
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
So what's something that surprised you about your time on The Voice?
I don't know if I'm trying to think of like something that was surprising to me. I kind of had an idea going in what I was kind of getting into, just with like the reality part of it.
Yeah.
I think I was a little bit surprised of how little we actually get to spend, you know, how little time we spend with the coaches. Because, you know, you see it on TV, you're like, oh, how many rehearsals do you get? It's like, actually, just one, you know, right before the actual, you know, the battle, which is the next round. So, you know, there's just a few things I wasn't expecting, but overall, pretty, I don't know, pretty expected.
Yeah. So pretty much that one session in the studio with them, that's kind of like the only time you have with them?
Right, yeah, pretty much. And then when you actually see them on, you know, the day of the battles and the knockouts.
Wow. So
yeah,
your studio session with, I mean, because you had Gwen and John, so like, what would be like the average time studio session that you would have with them?
I think with Gwen, it might have been a little over an hour. I think it might depend on each pairing.
Yeah.
And I think for the knockouts, it was close to the same. I'll say about an hour.
Mm-hmm. So then when you did your battle with Paige, John stole you and saved you.
Yeah.
Bring us back to that moment in time where you had Gwen, but now you have John, your other favorite coach.
Right. You know, it was really crazy because, I mean, like, I didn't know what was going to happen in that moment. I wasn't really thinking ahead. I was just like, okay, I guess I got to walk down the stairs, out the door or something.
Yeah.
And so as I went down the stairs, it was like, you know, the whole thing lit up. There was like a whoosh, you know? And I actually at first had no idea who had used the steal. I was just like, oh, cool. But then it was John. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes! I get to work with him.
Yeah. But you heard that someone hit their button, right?
Yeah, so what's funny is in blinds you don't hear the button because I think it would distract you, but with battles and knockouts you do hear the buttons.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think if you were up there for your blind audition and you heard people like hit their button.
Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
I've talked to quite a few people that were on The Voice and they're like, I'm up there and I'm just having this out of body experience and I don't even know who turns. And then you're like, and then the lights, and it's just like that. You have like 3 seconds to even figure out where are you and what are you doing.
Right. What's weird is it's like you feel like you're not really there because it's just like happening. Like when I was singing, I was just kind of like not completely on autopilot. Like I was definitely like, you know, putting everything into it, but it was just like, okay, you know, when John turned, I was like, oh my gosh, no way, don't freak out. Like, that's your guy.
So you had the opportunity to work with John. What is John like?
He's really, I think he's kind of like how you see him on TV. He's very chill.
Yeah.
He's very kind as well. And he does, he's an incredible musician. I mean, just an amazing artist too. So he has amazing advice and stuff, stuff that can really help us.
So you actually met one of your best friends on the show. Your not partner, Paige. I would love to talk about your friendship, how it started, where you guys are at now with your friendship.
Yeah, absolutely. We met when she was, it was at the bottom of the elevator, and I think she was like, just got out of quarantine, and we had just gotten out of quarantine. We met her. I'd seen her on Zoom. She and I were both like the last two people to get our blind songs. So I was like, my mom was like, wouldn't it be funny if you two got paired together at some point and made the same team? And that's exactly what happened.
Moms know everything.
I know, it's crazy. But yeah, so we met, she was really funny and stuff, but I think we didn't really become like really good friends until we got paired, which what's interesting is a lot of people were like, oh yeah, you two are going to get paired, but I was, I think both of us were surprised, and then we didn't know the song at first that we were singing. Yeah. So I think it was really cool. We got to bond over learning it together, and at the beginning we were like, let's make this our own. Let's do something really cool with it. Let's try to make this as like, soulful as possible. And I really loved the end product of what we did. But yeah, even after the show, we talk every day. She came out a couple weeks ago to Colorado. We recorded some stuff. We're writing stuff, and that friendship is very strong. So I'm really blessed to have met her.
Yeah, that's amazing. I've talked to a lot of people from The Voice who are like, those people on the show are my family, but your bond with Paige is, I just feel more than family.
Yeah, it's like soul sisters, that's kind of what we call it. She's a really hilarious person, and we're both Libras, so we share a lot of the same ideas.
Totally into astrology. Like, I am very into astrology and who you should be friends with Libras and other people that are of your same sign, because
right,
they're the strongest relationships, and those people know you so well.
Right. Yes. There's it's crazy how many similarities there are between like people of the same zodiac sign and whatever. It's all kind of crazy.
Yeah, zodiac is totally real. Like astrology, like I always try when I meet people to be like, oh, what's your sign? And I'm like, okay, that's totally why.
That makes sense. It makes sense to me. Yeah.
What artists or genres of music have you been listening to during quarantine?
Ooh, I think like when COVID started, I got super into Alan Stone. And then during The Voice, I didn't listen to a whole lot of music because I was just in the zone, busy trying to learn stuff. But I got into Mac Ayres, and I'm in love with him now. He's so cool. And then right now, I would say I'm listening to a lot of different stuff. Higdon's new song, Leanne LaHavis, and a bunch of other stuff.
I love it. I love knowing what people are listening to, because I feel like with all this time and Spotify and people coming out with different kinds of music, there's so much out there to listen to. So I always know, like, oh, were you listening to anybody like new, or did you go back in the vault and listen to stuff from like the early 90s?
Right. What's funny is like, I always find artists after everybody else does, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And they're like, yeah, we know. We know, Lauren. They are really cool.
You can't know every musician. Like,
no.
So much music there. Like, even when I try to interview musicians and people are like, oh, interview this person, I'm like, okay, well, I'm like one person, so I can only know so many people.
Yeah, there's so much music out there. There's a lot of good music, so.
Good music. So talk to us about what's next for you. Do you have any live streams coming up, singles, collaborations, anything exciting?
Sorry. As of right now, I'm kind of doing some gigs, but my first single is coming out June 4th. We just set the date for it.
Yeah.
It's going to be on all platforms. It's called June. I wrote it with my friend Ben Suyat. I mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
We met a while ago at School of Rock, and we wrote these songs like 2 or 3 years ago, but we're only now putting them out. You know, I think it's good that we decided to wait and kind of record them later, so our styles and everything could kind of mature, because my voice 2 years ago, much different than it is now.
Yeah. That's awesome that you became such good friends with him and you're collaborating with him. This single is coming out June 4th and it's called June.
Yes, it's called June. Kind of a summer song. I'm really excited for people to hear it. It'll be interesting to see, you know, what reactions we get, because it's kind of, you know, somewhat like what I do, but also kind of not. So,
is there anything you can tell us about the inspiration behind the song?
So, when I was 15, I kind of wrote like the chorus and stuff for it, but I didn't really finish all the lyrics until like, I would say last year. But the inspiration, we wrote it in June. That's when we started writing it, you know. At that point, I would kind of go off of his chords, you know, and they were very warm, just like, you know, jazzy. And that's where I got the inspiration for just like, you know, calling it June. So I wanted it kind of to radiate this warm energy and stuff. And, you know, June is just such a vibrant month, really beautiful. A lot of people coming together, accepting themselves, loving themselves. It's a really beautiful month. And so I figured, you know, I think it's good to write a song about that. So.
And I love that you started it and then you came back to it.
What's interesting is I think I was singing it all along, but every time we played it live, I would kind of do a different like version of it. You know, it's like it would never be the same, and I think just playing it live finally got me to lock in some lyrics that I'm like, okay, these are cool, this makes sense, and I have the story. So I kind of compiled it over time.
I love that. Very cool. Very excited to hear it. And do you have anything else coming up as far as collaborations? Anything else?
Collaboration-wise, April 30th, Paige wrote a song, and I am featured on it, and so it's called Goodbye. So I hope you guys listen to it. Go pre-save it. Link in her bio. So we can get a lot of plays.
Yes, and that's right around the corner.
Yes.
Yes. April 3rd, Paige Turner's profile on Instagram, Paige Turner Music, and I'm sure you're going to have it on your Instagram as well.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome.
Also, her and I kind of, you know, I mentioned earlier, she came out to record something that people might expect, so I hope everybody kind of looks out for that this summer. We already kind of started promoting it a little bit, and I think people are kind of know what it is. So I'm excited for everybody to hear it.
Yeah, so definitely make sure to follow both of them so you know what the surprise is and when it drops.
Yes.
What song do you wish you wrote and why?
Oof. Oh, this is hard. Okay, there's a lot of songs I'm like, man, if I wrote this, I'd be so proud. But I think one that really speaks to me is like, this is our Bet I Made by Alan Stone. Never mind. I love that song. What's funny is that's like one of the extras on his Radius album, you know? It's not like one of the original, you know, main ones.
Yeah.
But definitely my favorite. It's just the lyrics in it, the melody is crazy, and just the instrumentation, musicality of it is beautiful. So I would be so proud if I wrote that. I'd be showing it to everybody.
Yeah. I love the Alan Stone song as well, because I asked that question to a lot of people, and I feel like Alan Stone has come up in a lot of my conversations because so many people are inspired by him.
Yes.
So if you're watching this chat right now and you don't know who Alan Stone is, please, please, please go listen to Alan Stone. You will fall in love with him. He's insane.
He's amazing.
What's the best advice you've ever been given? I don't feel like I have an exact like
I don't remember the exact wording, but from Gwen in like our rehearsal session, I think she kind of talked about, she kind of said this for both Paige and I, it's cool that both of you are so unique, and, don't really try to change yourselves too much, It's really cool what you're doing, and so that was very validating. Sorry, I don't remember the exact quote. I don't think it was shown on TV, but it was something like that was very inspiring to me.
So pretty much just be yourself, because don't try to be someone else. Like, just do you and stay true to yourself, because if you're trying to be like that other person, it doesn't work.
Exactly. And what's interesting to me is, it's such a, no-brainer saying, you hear it all the time, but it's actually, a lot of times I myself need to take a step back and, just remind myself that, hey, keep your individuality. Don't try to be like, everything else, because, your individuality is what has gotten you this far. And so I think I'm going to continue with that.
Individuality is so important when it comes to musicianship, because on a show like The Voice, you guys are all there because you're totally different. Like, if they wanted a cookie cutter like country star, they could find that. There's like a lot of people that kind of sound the same, but it's like they pick each individual person for a reason.
Exactly.
And it's so amazing because every season they have like such an incredible group of people.
Right. There's so many different artists that go on those shows, and what's been cool is like artists from seasons prior and the season that's going on now. Yeah. I've talked to some of those people, shared different experiences and stuff, and it's kind of like one big Voice family too. So it's really cool to see all the new people coming in.
Yeah, it's crazy because your season was just on a couple of months ago, and now this other season's on. And it's like, oh my gosh, this happened so quick.
I know. It feels like yesterday that like I was in California like filming it all, and so it's like, oh, now it's done. I'm on to the next thing, I guess.
Yeah. So how was it like being on a show like that during quarantine?
It was actually like, when I auditioned for the producer rounds and stuff, it was actually right before COVID hit, so I didn't know we were going to be filming in the middle of a pandemic. But it wasn't too bad, basically we just wore a lot of PPE. We got tested like 3 times a week, so nobody had COVID, which was really nice.
Yeah.
Very sterile atmosphere. So we were all healthy and stuff, but we could go outside and social distance, hang out and stuff. So we were still able to socialize. But I think it was like interesting. I would be interested to see like how the process was without, COVID, because I'm sure it would be a lot more relaxed. It was definitely fun, and I'm really glad I got to do it because I would have had nothing else to do during that time. So
you would have been staying in your house like the rest of us.
Yeah, it would have been really boring. And so I was really blessed to have the opportunity when I did, because I was like, wow, we're like in this really cool like community together, while all of this craziness is going on. And so it was really cool.
And I give the producers props, because it's like nobody knew what they were doing last year. Like every kind of industry had to completely shift what they were doing. And a lot of industry shut down, a lot of TV productions, film production shut down. So for them to just kind of power on and be like, okay, we're just going to do COVID testing and just like put shower curtains up in the room when you guys are like seeing that, I'm like, oh my God, that's so strange. I'm like, oh, but that's how they're practicing and they're doing it.
Right, exactly. And we were kind of the guinea pig season too, so that was interesting. So it's kind of cool to hear the people going this season, kind of what they're going through, pretty similar stuff, but I think, they might have been a little harder on us. I don't know.
I think so, because you guys, we're the guinea pigs, and like nobody knew what was happening last year, and it was like, when are things gonna like be normal? And everyone's like, I don't know. You're just gonna have to like wait and see.
Right. Exactly. And we were there for like I was there for about 2.5 months.
Wow.
Altogether, so that was a long time, in a hotel room. But it kind of, what was interesting is it was like living in town, you know, just kind of living in an apartment with my mom. We actually got along really well too, so it was fun.
Oh, that's good though, because at least your mom was on the journey with you, because I feel like most of those people are there completely on their own.
Exactly. And what was, you know, I think I'm really lucky that I got to have her there because, you know, it would have been kind of just, I would have felt very alone had I not had somebody with me most of the time. So, yeah, definitely grateful that she was able to come for that.
Yeah. What's some advice that you give to other musicians during quarantine?
Ooh, don't be afraid to get in touch with your creative side. I think it's okay to push yourself out of your comfort zone, listen to things that you've never listened to, play things that aren't really in your wheelhouse. You know, that's kind of what I've been doing. Mm-hmm. I've been singing a lot of stuff that, you know, I wouldn't normally sing. Like, I'm working with my vocal teacher on, like, pop songs, you know. So I think it's really cool if you can just kind of try different things, get creative, and you never know, it could really, you know, elevate your artistry in the end.
Yeah, I definitely think as a musician, it's important to like cover a lot of different genres and be like, okay, well, I don't know, maybe I should do an R&B song. And it's like, never done it before, but let me try.
Right, exactly.
You never know. So tell people that are watching how they can find you. Plug all of your social media.
Cool. You can find me on, well, here. If you're here, I think you can see my Instagram username, Lauren Frihauf. For Facebook, it's Lauren Frihauf Music. For Twitter, Lauren Frihauf. And, you know, I don't use TikTok a whole lot. I'm going to try to do more on there, but you can look me up, Lauren Frihauf, there as well. Follow me. Give me some incentive to post stuff.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So for people that are watching this right now, how can they support you and your musical journey?
Man, as of right now, you know, I have releases coming out soon, so I'll keep everybody updated on that. You know, if you're in Colorado, I have gigs coming up. I put them out. You know, I promote those. So if you're here, come to those. Come say hi.
Yes.
You can talk to me. It'll be fun. It's always fun to play live, and it's amazing to play live again after a year of not playing live at all. So
yeah, no, definitely. Please support Lauren if you're in Colorado, even if you're in the neighboring states. Just like take the day off of work and go, and just do a little drive.
Yeah, do a road trip.
Road trip. What's your next show coming up?
Oh, man, I feel like I should look at my calendar before I say it. It's in May. I have 2 in May. I have 2 in June, and I have 1 or 2 in July.
Nice.
So I will keep everybody posted on dates and stuff, and where you can go and how you can come support me.
Yep. Stay tuned. Go visit the website. Follow Lauren.
Yes.
If you don't already, because she's got a lot to announce in these next couple months.
Also, if you visit my website, laurenfrihaufmusic.com, you can join the email list so you can hear all about all the updates and details.
Yes, join the email list. So that's all the questions that I have for you this evening, but you're going to perform for us.
Yeah. I'm going to start with a little original. I wrote this. Ooh, my keyboard turned off in the time that we've been on. But I wrote this around New Year's. I was looking for inspiration and kind of came to me. So I hope you guys like it. This is called The Floorboards. I'm going to drink some water first.
All good.
I I've been looking out my window, I'm trying to get used to this, 'cause I don't see what's happening in the distance. But you won't find your answers until you search for something more. But what is more? More. Like what am I searching for? Supposed to keep on living when we're getting by online. And how am I supposed to face my fears when they're leading somewhere inside? I've been searching forever, so I don't have to go so far to save myself when I'm running dry. And I can see what I'm fighting, so now I'm starting to believe there's no so what am I fighting for? And then, what am I fighting for? And I'm so tired of losing to the end. I won't fight anymore. So seldom here. How long am I supposed to feel like this? I'm just digging my heels into the floor. And how long is it supposed to be like this? 'Cause I'm running into a wall. There's no door. No door. So what am I running for? No door. So what am I fighting for? So what am I searching for?
Yay! That was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
And what was the name of that song?
This is called Floorboards, for right now. I was thinking about like calling it like a name like Amber, but I'm not sure if it quite fits. So as of right now, it's Floorboards.
I love it. And your next one?
Next one is a cover. This one is requested like, I don't know, every time I ask for requests. So I'm going to play it live for y'all. I play this in my gigs, one of my favorites to play. So I hope you guys like Fleetwood Mac. freedom. And who am I to keep you down? It's only right that you should play the way you feel it. So listen carefully to the sound. Loneliness like a heartbeat drives you mad. In the stillness of remembering what you had and what you've lost, and what you had. Oh, and what you lost. Wonder only happens when it's raining. Players only love you when they're playing. The women, they will come and they will go. When the rain washes you clean, oh, you know. Now here I go, I see my crystal visions. I keep my vision to myself. It's only me who wants to wrap around your dreams and have you any dreams we like to sing. Dreams of loneliness like a heartbeat drives me mad. The stillness of remembering what you've had and what you've lost. Oh, what you had. Oh, what you had. Thunder only happens when it's raining. Players only love you when they're playing. Women, they will come and they will go. When the rain washes you clean, you know. Oh, you
Yay! That was so awesome. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for all your comments. If you have any questions for Lauren, please feel free to put them in the chat below.
Q&A time.
Yes. Where do you see your career in 5 years?
Oh man. If I'm looking like, hopefully, I don't know. I'm hoping that I can be playing around, selling out some medium venues and, maybe like 100, 200,000 like
Yes.
listeners on Spotify and my different platforms. I'm hoping to reach a lot of people with my music. So
I love it. What instrument would you like to learn next?
So currently I'm learning guitar. I'd like to be able to kind of just play with my own gigs, so I'm about to buy an electric for that. But
Nice.
I think like separately, something new I'd like to learn. I really want to learn bass, because I think it's such an underrated instrument, but it's so groovy and it's so cool and it's important and crucial for every song.
Yeah, bass is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Where do you want to travel next?
Ooh, after COVID, I would like to go to England or, France. I've always wanted to go to Europe or someplace like that, so maybe someday.
Soon. What's your next song going to be about?
Oh, my next song. Like as far as like what I'm releasing or just like as far as like the next one I write?
I guess both.
Okay. As far as the next song, it's kind of just about, I guess June is, the one that's being released in June is kind of a mix of, describing, kind of the vibrance and energy that June radiates, as well as sort of this, one of my personalities, kind of describing it. And it's a lot about myself. So that's kind of what it's about. And as far as what I'm going to write next, I have no idea. I never know. It just, I never have really a storyline until I actually start writing it. So we'll find out.
Yeah, I guess you're just going to open up your voice memos and just randomly pick one.
Yep.
Are you a Norah Jones fan?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
I love her so much. I grew up listening to her. She's amazing.
She's amazing. Greetings from Ecuador. Welcome.
Oh, wow.
Very
Awesome. Hello.
love that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. If you could create a whole new genre of music, what would you name it?
Ooh. I'd name it Lauren. No. I think if I were going to like name it, I always say like my music is like a cross between indie and neo soul, so maybe like call it neo indie or something if that doesn't already exist. Something like that.
Yeah, that's an awesome question, by the way. I didn't even question like that, but I love it.
That's my sister-in-law, so hi.
Oh, hi. This is just a personal question from me. Where did you get your background? Because it's like a hanging tarp, right?
Yeah. Actually, speaking of my sister-in-law, she got this for me like on Etsy for Christmas. So it's really beautiful. Yeah.
So beautiful.
So thank you.
Vibrant colors. Is there a window behind you as well? Is that how the light?
Yes. It's kind of where I'm getting the brightness. I use it for all my videos.
I love it. Very cool. She says, Nate, help me. We love you. Oh,
Love
that's
you guys too.
Any other final questions for Lauren? What is one thing you'll do after COVID?
Ooh, this is a hard one. Probably gonna go to college, maybe. I mean, I guess that's after high school, but hopefully COVID's done by then.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Oh, Paige is in the room. Hey, Paige. Hey,
Queen, what's up?
Hey, girl. We've been talking about you. Hope you've been in the room. What's your writing process like? Paige wants to know.
I already know this, Paige. No, I'm kidding. I think for me, it depends. I think like sometimes I'll kind of have a melody in my head and some lyrics, and then it'll take me a couple months to find the right chords for it. But other times it'll be kind of the opposite. I'll have the chords and like a piano riff or, progression, or guitar progression even months before, and then I find lyrics that fit it later. So it really all depends. And sometimes I write a song in a whole day and everything just comes to me all at once. So it really depends.
Really depends on the day.
Yeah.
I love it. Lauren, do you have any final words for the room?
Oh, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure to check your calendars and keep in mind that I have a single coming out June 4th. I will be posting, promoting that very soon. Y'all will be hearing more about that. And Also, April 30th, I'm featured on Paige's song. It's really cool, and I hope you guys really like it. You're going to. It's a really amazing song, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
No.
Make sure y'all mark your calendars for April 30th. Go to the link in her bio. Pre-save it so we can get lots of plays on it.
Yes, April 30th and
Yes.
June 4th. Music from Lauren, and then she has those shows coming up. And go to her website, go on her mailing list, support Lauren, follow Lauren. And Lauren, thank you so much for coming on my show. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
So much fun. Guys, if you don't already, please make sure to follow me. I am Ashley Live. This is Vibin with Ashley Live. And thank you guys for spending your evening with us. We'll see you next time.
Yes. See y'all.